All right, so there is a fresh B8 at 25 yards, actually 25.59 yards, according to this laser rangefinder. Here is the camera setup that you're going to be in. There's your B8, right? Move too far off angle to show all of that. All right, so there is the fresh B8. All right. Thank you for those that are going to stick to the end of this video. This is an example video, but it's also kind of an accountability video, right? So here's my first 10 shots of the day. Confirming 0. These are the first 10 rounds that were in my carry magazine. Slow fire, and not only confirming 0, but also using it as a shot call exercise. So shot calling, a very important part of the shot process is as soon as that shot breaks, wherever I see my dot lift from under recoil, that's telling me where that impact is going to be as long as it's properly zeroed sight. So I'm gaining two things out of it. If I have correctly called the shots and it's zeroed properly, then they're going to be where I was calling it from. If I'm calling shots and they're impacting somewhere else and it is a trend all the way through, then that shows me that there's something off in my zero, right? So this is going to have some length to it because I'm doing this slow fire. So at the pace of absolute, I know exactly where that shot's going to go. I'm saying that as much for myself as for the sake of the video, because once I'm on video, it's very easy to get pressured by trying to make it a shorter video so people don't just shut it off by now. We're already 2 minutes into it and I haven't even fired a shot yet, right? So stay with it. I trust it'll be worth your precious time. Was what I saw for a ring was, I would have called that edge of the 9-10 ring at 9 o'clock. Now, as I was continuing to look at the target, I believe I already saw the impact of the round just because the way the sun is. I believe that I saw it more straight 12 o'clock. Yep. So that's a little bit off in my shot call, right? I would have called that straight 9 o'clock, and instead it's 12 o'clock right there on the edge of the 10 ring. That I'm calling 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock of the 10 ring. I was right at the 12. All right, now we're sitting out to the 3, right? So we're seeing a little variance there, but called it 10 ring, okay? But 90 degrees off of where I called it at. Center. If anything, I'd call that X, but closer to the left side 9 o'clock area, but X. Now, opposite side of the X. All right, so called X, but opposite side of the X ring. same call, left side, 9 o'clock of the X-ring. All right, so just barely outside that 10 ring at 9 o'clock. So just further out. So I'll bring that up. So if I'm going to be off in a call, that is what I would prefer. So my timing was slightly off. I called it X and it was 10, but the direction was correct. So overall, my time of seeing it at the moment that it was fired is closer because I wasn't opposite in the direction. Okay, so I would take that to where that's probably about a ½ inch off of where I called it at, but in the correct direction. So I'll take that if I'm going to be off anything that I prefer to look like that. That broke 2 o'clock. I believe it was still inside the 9 ring, but it was going from the 9 or from the 10 up to the 9 at the 2 o'clock. Nope. So that got all the way out. That got all the way out to the 8 before it broke. So identified that, and honestly, so this is where I was talking about. It's easy to get sucked into the video, right? And the timing for that. I called that as a difficult, inaccurate shot before I even broke it. And this is where, especially if you trained with Chuck Pressburg, Press Check Consulting, and he's talking about maturity of a shooter, right? That was an immature shot because my wobble zone was telling me I could not expect the result that I wanted, and I tried to fight it and send it anyway and get it back under control, right? If it's true slow fire and I have time, I don't need to do that. That's the point of slow fire, to see that in my sights before it happens, whether I just need to put it back in the holster, relax, whatever, but I have the time to make it a perfect shot, right? So that is on me. So some things that you can't see, I'm working my stance to try and reduce wobble. We have a little bit of wind blowing, and when you're going for X-ring precision, that matters, and you start seeing it in your sights when your stance is getting blown left and right a little bit. Also, I turned my dot, this is an RMR 06 on here, an RMR 06, the 3.25 MOA trench gun dot, and I turned down the brightness one more click just because I felt like it was obscuring my X-ring, my actual X, a little bit, and I want to get all that information. I want to see the actual X for this, right? Replay. I have not looked at the camera yet. I'm calling that X at the 12 o'clock. It was lifting up, and I believe that was the recoil lifting it straight up. I don't believe it was movement prior to ignition, but it was coming straight up through the X. So X ring left side, right? So that should be that X at 9 o'clock. It's really trying to be extremely precise to call a shot within the X ring. Most people would be like, oh, it's in the black, and they'd be happy with it. Trying to continue to push that next rung of excellence. I'm trying to call within the X ring where it's at, right? Just in the black doesn't cut it, right? So I called 12 o'clock X ring, and it was 9 o'clock X ring. fighting it, putting it back away. I'm not going to be an immature shooter twice in one string, right? Here we go. That lifted 12 o'clock 10 ring. Yeah, there we go. So just slightly to the right of exact. You know, it's probably technically closer to 1 o'clock, but I'm pretty happy with that call. It was in the right order, right direction, correct ring. So I'm calling that a pretty spot on call. Now that lifted up and out towards the 1 and 2 o'clock, but I believe that was recoil taking it. I'm calling that X ring, pretty close to center. X. I'll have to go back on the video now. I'm trying to think of which ones I saw, which ones were already there. Let me see if I can refocus this a little bit. So actually, I think that's the 9 at 3 o'clock was maybe that shot. It's far enough in now that it's difficult sometimes to remember which ones were which. Let me see if I can tighten this up a little bit. Playing with a couple different focuses. Sometimes it works better than others. All right, keep going. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sometimes that's dangerous. Now I know where I'm at. Shot 9 and 10. Here we go. A little bit of light change. I don't know if you saw the video, but now we're under clouds. It was very bright light to begin with. We'll see how this looks with dot rays. All right, coming out of my process, fixing my stance. I already had the very slight minute, but it was a little bit of pre-ignition movement that as I added the pressure to the gun, my brain was going, oh, here, this is going to be it, and it wasn't. And there was just that slight movement to the gun that could have been a movement off of desired point of impact, because it was starting to manage recoil before there was recoil. All right, back into it. That looked good. X-ring, and really I have to call center X. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that was pretty close to center X, just on top of that other shot out to the 1, 2 o'clock of the X ring, just a little further closer to center. So good call there. Back out of my process, fixing stance, especially knowing this is shot number 10. And that looked good. I gotta call another X on that. Yep, so good. X down there on the right. So let's pull back out of here. Keep this thing going. All right. This was running the staccato P. All right, this is my carry ammo. Again, this is kind of a zero confirmation. But that's my carry ammo. 147 grain Winchester Ranger. All right, so that's absolutely a line break. Right, it's touching the grease ring. I don't know if you can see it. So anytime that you're scoring a video in person or a shot in person, you're the best one to score it, right? Because you see it. I'm not worried about a picture or whatever. Your Mark 1 eyeball is better, right? So you can see the size of that grease ring here versus the size of the hole. You have to remember that's here too. You just don't see the black that you see here, right? So that's 10. That's a 9, right? That is not a line break, okay? So that's 1, 2, 3, right? Down 3 points for the slow fire. Total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So all 10 shots on. You know, you saw that in real time. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 4x. So a 97 4x for that. And this shot, immaturity right there. Immature. Didn't want to give it up. My sight was wobbling, telling me, hey, you're about to lose this thing. I said, no, I can control it. I can control it. Bam. Didn't control it. All right. So there you go. Shot calling and accountability. Thanks for watching.